tonight, so it catches all of my hand signals. So you might get a thumbs up or a wave here and there. everything else. But all right. Well, thank you so much for coming. Tonight we are going to be doing, I'm actually going to show you a really quick one of my favorite slow cooker meals. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to just tell you and just walk you through how you can use the same slow cooker meal into 3 different recipes. Because one of the things that I love to do is make things very simple and keep you in the kitchen for not a lot of time. So I believe that you can eat healthy and you can do it still, without spending hours in the kitchen. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to talk all slow cookers. So if you guys have any questions, come off of mute, type it in the chat. It's a nice small group tonight. So, so we've got that too. So what I am going to do, there we go. Marja's there. Oh, yay. Yeah. Yay. Marja came in. All right. So we got 2 more people. Perfect. Hello.
Just give me those. Hi. Just give me those.
As well. So what I am going to do is I'm going to show you. So there's 2 kinds of slow cookers or crock pots. It's kind of it's a simultaneous word, right? And so you may have an older crock pot or slow cooker that is like just one, it's like heavy, it's ceramic. There's those kinds. And then there's the new ones, which I'm going to use today because my old one broke, but I'm going to use this one. So it's the Instant Pot, but it also has a slow cooker function on it. So they're making these new ones now, either way works fine. It's the same, it's the same heating up, it's the same time, it doesn't matter. So whatever you use works fine, I'm sure. Okay. But that's just what I'm going to use tonight. And I'm assuming everybody on here has a slow cooker or some type of slow cooker. Okay, great. So slow cookers, as much as I love them and as much as they are a huge time saver, right? They can also be one of those things where it seems really soggy, like the vegetables. If you don't use the right vegetables and you cook them too long, they get really soggy. Sometimes the meat gets dried out. And so sometimes, you find people either have a love or hate relationship with the slow cooker just because it's really quick and it's really easy, but then also too, it just kind of can all taste the same. So I like to use spices. Spices, I think, are, like the spice of life, right? They just add different flavor to it. And that really can make or break your recipe, as well as what you use in the slow cooker. So I am Carol, you said you were on a pretty strict diet. So one of the things that I really like to do, I keep things very simple. Anybody that's been around me a while knows that I like to keep things simple, but I also like to, just keep things flavorful as well. And I will follow this formula tonight pretty much in all of my recipes, whether it be a sheet pan dinner that we did the other night or a slow cooker recipe. So there's 3 things that can that will make your meal really full. Because the other thing about a slow cooker is you can have everything together and you don't have to come home and then cook something else. Like everything can be together if you think about it and work through it properly. So I like to have these 3 ingredients when I am making my meals. So the first one is a protein, right? The protein is what's going to keep us full. The protein is, pretty much for most of us, the main part of the meal. Then you're going to have a vegetable, right? And then you're going to have some kind of starch. I'm not going to recommend like rice or a grain in the slow cooker, because what it's going to do is it's going to just soak everything up and suck it up. So a starch is going to be more like the potatoes, in the squash family, butternut squash, anything like that. Okay. And the vegetables when you're choosing a vegetable for your slow cooker, it's really important that they are like of the sturdy variety. So, you know, you're talking like broccoli, you're talking cauliflower, carrots, parsnips. Onions do hold up well in the slow cooker, but anything really delicate like asparagus or like I'm trying to think, like even zucchini and yellow squash, forget it. It's just gonna be mush, right? Even eggplant, I think is a soft one. So a lot of the slow cooker recipes are very hearty, right? That's what it is. And so you just kind of have to think of that even with your stews and your soups and your chilies that you're making. It has to be hearty in order to hold up. Otherwise, it's just going to fall apart or it's going to be mush. The other thing that I have found with the protein is that when you're using chicken, which I'm going to use tonight, I'm going to show you. But when you're using chicken, it's best if you use bone-in chicken. The chicken breast or without, like you can even buy like chicken thighs without the bones in them, right? It just tends to get a little bit drier, and that's where it just is a turnoff, even if it's sitting in the sauce all day. So as much as you can with the chicken, if that's something that you're going to do, I would say bone in as much as possible. It doesn't have to be, the skin doesn't have to be on it. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, does that make sense? And then any other chili, you know, like chili can be made with ground beef, it can be ground turkey, you know, those types of protein, because they are sitting in a sauce, are going to be, they're not going to dry out, and it's going to taste okay. But for some reason, the chicken breast, I don't know, I haven't found a really amazing, like, aha. Recipe that works. So just do the bone in, and then you can take it out and you can shred it afterwards if you want to do that. Okay. So what I thought I would do tonight, and my husband saw me setting up and he's like, that's going to be dinner tomorrow night, right? And I was like, yep, that's going to be dinner tomorrow night. So I'm going to cook it after this. But so slow cookers as well. And actually this just kind of got me thinking, there's lots of breakfasts you can do in slow cookers too, like a baked oatmeal, almost like a souffle kind of a thing, which is really good. But maybe we'll do like another class on that. Tonight I'm going to do dinner because we're busy. Dinner is like one of the craziest times in the afternoon. And this meal, I'm going to show you how I would do it at night. So when I was working outside and would have to leave the house like 6:30 in the morning, this is one of the meals that I would get ready at night, exactly how I'm going to show you now. And then all I had to do was just turn on my slow cooker in the morning. I would put everything in the fridge and then just turn on my slow cooker in the morning. And what that meant for me was then when I came home and I walked through the door, because I had a protein, because I had a vegetable, because I had a starch, everything was in that one pot. I didn't have to do anything except set the table and sit down, right? So sometimes we think even like it does take a little bit of time to get this set up at night before going to bed, but taking that extra 5-10 minutes to do this for tomorrow is going to be huge, and it like takes a weight off of your shoulder to do that. Okay. So this is one of those things, if you can kind of look at your schedule for the week, when I work with women and I work and I talk about meal planning, this is one of those times where I'll say, look at your calendar for the week. What does your week look like? Which are your busy nights? This is a dinner that you're going to use for your busy night so that you don't have to think about it, and you can still eat healthy. Right? That's the goal. We want to eat healthy. We want to be full, and we don't want to be wasting our time. Okay. So I am going to do a rotisserie chicken for you. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very, very simple. I don't know if anybody has made a rotisserie chicken at home in the slow cooker or in the Instant Pot, but it is possible. And makes your house smell amazing when you walk through the door knowing you do it. I always like to also give the option of, obviously you can stop at the grocery store, pick up a rotisserie chicken on the way home if it's prepped and, you know, done. But this eliminates that stop as well, right? Because when we're coming home, we're tired, we're exhausted. We don't want to have to do one more thing. So this is one of those things. And you can buy a whole chicken in the store and keep it in the freezer. And then on those nights when you're like, oh, I need something, this is going to be when you have it and it's ready to go. Okay. So first of all, when you buy a chicken, I think the first time I bought a whole chicken at the grocery store, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I'd never done it before. So obviously, right, this is the chicken. I took it out of the bag, but inside the chicken are the innards. So there's like normally a bag of innards in the chicken, which is like the, you know, like all the stuff that you boil for the dog or whatever. So you have to take that out. Please take it out. Do not cook that in there. So you're going to want to take that out and then you can proceed. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I also like to just rinse my chicken off. I'll rinse it under cold water and I'll pat it a little bit dry with wet paper or with a dry paper towel, and then it's all set. Okay, I don't do anything else. And the idea with this is that this is easy for you. So don't spend a lot of time doing anything else. Okay. So the recipe that you are going to get after this video is this recipe that I'm making. It's the dry rub, the seasoning that is going to go on the outside of the chicken. And that's what really, when you get a rotisserie chicken at the store, that's what all the flavor is, right? It's all the spices and all the dry rub. So I've mixed it together for the sake of time today, so you didn't have to see me do it. But let me read to you what's in here. Okay. And they're all very, very common. You probably all have them in your store, in your pantry, not in your store, in your pantry now, with the exception of maybe one. So there is brown sugar in here. There's 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. There is 1 or half a tablespoon of chili powder. Okay. And don't be alarmed. This is not, it's not spicy. And because you're mixing it with the other spices, it's not going to make it spicy if you have any like picky eaters or kids in your family, because what it's doing, remember, it's just kind of coating the outside of the chicken. All right. So it's the chili powder. And then this is the one that you might not have. And if you don't, it's okay. It's half a tablespoon of smoked paprika. If you have regular paprika, it's okay. What I will say is, since I started using the smoked paprika, man, is there a difference in the flavor? It's like a smoky smell from like just smoking on the grill. That like, it just is very distinct smell. Regular paprika works well, but if you can find smoky, I would use it. It's just, it tastes good. It tastes really good. And then you have your regulars. So then you have your thyme, which is a teaspoon of thyme, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then it called for a teaspoon of onion powder, which I didn't have. So I used onion salt. And then what I did was I didn't put as much of the regular it calls for kosher salt and pepper. So I didn't put as much in it because I had done the onion salt, but I still did a little bit. Because what you're going to find is, even though it seems like there's a lot of the spices in here, once it gets distributed all over the chicken, it's not going to be that, you know, that salty. We think there's a lot of salt on one little piece, but remember, it's going over all of the entire chicken. Okay, so that's it. So if I was working, I would do one of 2 things. I would mix this spice up ahead of time and have it mixed up at night and leave it on the counter so I can see it, so I don't forget it, because out of sight is out of mind, right? So leave it on the counter when you can see it. And then in the morning, I would do a quick dry rub of the chicken like I'm going to show you, or you could do it all at night and kind of let it marinate and baste in the seasonings. And then you're going to get a really full flavor during the day too. So you just have to know your schedule. If you're not a morning person and you feel like you're running around like crazy, then don't add one more thing in the morning, right? But you certainly could if you if you needed to. So this is it. I'm going to just now, I'm going to try to turn so you guys can see. So I'm just going to now take the dry rub, and all I'm going to do is just go all over the chicken. That's the best way to describe it. And it is going to stick because it is it's still a little bit wet, right? From when I washed it off. And you want to make sure you're going to use all of it, and you want to get underneath the wings, just everywhere. And this, again, like when you buy the rotisserie chicken from the store, this is where the flavor is coming from, all of the spices. Okay. And so this is it. You're just going to rub it all in, flip it over, and do it on the other side. Okay. If you have some left, I always like to do a little bit on the inside of the chicken as well. But you don't have to, but it just adds a little bit of flavor too. Okay. Now, the one thing is, maybe you've had rotisserie chicken that has like crispy skin, right? The slow cooker is not going to make the crispy skin of the chicken. It's going to bring the flavors out, but it's not going to bring the crispiness of the chicken. The Instant Pot, which actually in the January, I'm doing a 6-week cooking, basically a cooking skill class kind of like this. We're going to do a whole section on the Instant Pot, and I'm going to show you how to crisp up the chicken in the Instant Pot and doing that. But the slow cooker at least will keep it, keep it moist like this. Okay. Can you guys see that? It's gross. It's disgusting. I do these things for my husband. I like to eat more plant-based protein, but it's all good. And I'm also going to show you. So just so you know, this is like I think this is like a 5-pound chicken. Okay. So the recipe that you're going to get, I didn't double the spices at all. I kept it the same. So it calls for a 4 to 5 pound chicken. Okay. And it feeds quite a bit, quite a lot. So if you have, what I like about this is if you have a large family, it's going to feed it. If you have, just a couple, if there's 2 of you or 1 of you, or little kids, this is going to go far. And I'm going to show you how to move that into 2 other meals so that this can actually save you time under in the week. Okay. So if you did this at night, then you just cover it with saran wrap, put it in the fridge, right? And you're ready for the morning. Now, this is my protein. So I need my vegetable and I need my potatoes, but I'm also keeping this very simple. So, and again, showing you exactly what I would do. I took red potatoes and I halved them. So I cut them in half. And I covered them with water, because if I was doing this, and this is how I would set it up in the morning, I would prep them like this at night, keep them in the fridge, and then just quickly rinse them off in the morning. Right? So you see how kind of I sectioned everything off, like I put it all together, like did a little bit of prep, but so the morning now when you see it all together, it's just gonna like all go in, right? I will add a little bit of salt. So all I'm going to do now, so this is maybe 1 pound of red potatoes, and they're halved. Okay. So I'm going to just dump the water out, and I'm going to put a little bit of salt on them, although they're going to go on the bottom. So this is going to be my bottom layer of the slow cooker. The chicken is going to go on top. And my husband moved the salt at dinner time. So I'm just going to do a little bit of salt because potatoes actually can take salt. They can, it absorbs it. I'm just gonna shake it up. That's it. And if there's a little bit of water in here, it's okay because it's going to, it's just gonna cook in there, okay? So whatever your insert is for your slow cooker, you're just gonna take your potatoes and you're gonna pour it in. That's it. You have a nice layer of potatoes on the bottom, right? See that? Whatever. And so you can add, if you wanted to, you could add sweet potatoes to this. You could even add, if you wanted to, for part of your starch, you could do some butternut squash on the bottom, cubed it, right? You could do that. The only thing is with the squash, it might get a little soggy. So just be mindful of that. But the potatoes are the starch that are going to hold their shape for this. Okay. So I'm going to put my chicken on top, but for my vegetable, what I'm going to use, you can use either, like with this, it's just a very common like chicken potato meal. You could use vegetables or carrots. You could also use parsnips. And here's another secret. Baby carrots are amazing when you do baked dishes like this because you don't have to peel and you don't have to cut. They're done. So I would just normally take like a couple handfuls and put them on top of my carrots so they're in there, right? If you're buying parsnips from the store, they have to be peeled and they have to be cut, right? Again, we're just trying to think quick and easy, but also healthy at the same time. And depending on how many people like cooked carrots in your family, you know, go add some more. But so you're just gonna have a nice layer of your carrots and then your potatoes on the bottom, right? Now, just gonna make sure that it's even on there. And then I'm just going to take my chicken and I'm going to plop it right on top. And don't worry, like if it, this actually, this is like a snug bug in a rug here. And then take any extra spices and just put them on top. Okay. Somebody else just came in. So just take your spices, layer them on top. Okay. And this is it. Very easy. Now, again, if you wanted to, because the potatoes are completely covered, you could, and this is what I did all the time because my mornings were crazy and I didn't trust myself in the morning. So what I would do is I would put this I would do this at night, put it in the fridge, the potatoes, because they're covered and because you're going to put a sealed like lid on top of it, they're not going to turn brown. It's when they're exposed to air, that's when they start to turn brown and do the, like get that weird, like brownish, blackish color, the potatoes, but because it's completely covered and they're not going to. So this could go completely in your fridge. And then the only thing you have to do in the morning is pull it right out. And you're going to plop it in your slow cooker, whatever that looks like, right? And you're going to cook. Now, time-wise for this, and this is where, so if you're out of the house all day, I recommend doing a slower cook. Otherwise, it's going to stay on warm, depending again on what kind of crock pot you have, your slow cooker. So it's 8 hours on low or 4 to 5 hours on high is what this is. And then when you come home, this is where you have your protein, your starch, and your vegetable all done already, right? And you don't have to do anything for this meal except cut the chicken. You know, I used to like take it out, put it on a plate, cut it, and then dish out the potatoes and the carrots. There's your meal. Now, moving it into a couple different meals because we don't always want to eat the same thing, but it's probably going to have leftovers, right? Because it's such a big chicken. So a couple really easy meals that I like are one, to take the shredded chicken afterwards. So it's still going to have some flavor, remember, from the rotisserie or from the spices. So to take the leftover chicken, shred it off, peel it off the bone, take it off, and you can either put your favorite barbecue sauce on it for like a barbecue chicken sandwich on a roll. And then just, you know, a quick salad on the side of that or some cut up fruit. Or you can do shredded chicken tacos and add taco sauce to it. So instead of using the ground meat for it, you would use the shredded chicken from here and just add that, right? So you're repurposing it that way. And your family feels like you're not eating the same thing over and over again. It's a different chicken. It's a different feel and different look. Another meal that is really, again, easy to do, and you could use the slow cooker, or you could do it on the stove, is a very simple chicken noodle soup with the slow cooker, or with the, again, you're going to take the chicken, you'll shred it out, use those chickens. You can even use the bones to make, you know, to make the broth if you want to. And then you're going to add your favorite pasta and then whatever other veggies that you have in your fridge. Nothing crazy. I always just make them from whatever I have in the fridge, doing it that way. So you could repurpose this meal at least into 2 different times if you wanted to. With that. So the other thing that I forgot to mention too, when you are cooking in the slow cooker like this, I wouldn't add actually any broth or water to it, because it's going to cook in its own juices. And then what's going to happen is if you add broth or if you add water to the bottom of it, it's going to really, really be sitting in it, unless you want to make gravy. That's another step. I am not a expert at gravy, and I really don't even try. So I just like it to cook in its own juices, and then that's what the potatoes will cook in as well with that. So something like this doesn't need any other liquid at all as well. So what does that sound like? Does it sound like easy enough to kind of put together, and also think of those prep steps as well, so that you can, yeah, like this can't be done at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Something like this. But if you thought about this at 3 o'clock today for tomorrow's dinner, it would make perfect sense. And then you could do all the steps in prep, right? And then even too, thinking about how you can use it and repurposing it maybe once or twice during the week, you know, as well. That's always helpful too.
Now, this is silly, but would you show
No
us the cover?
Brenda, none.
Show us the cover of your pot, because your pot says Instant Pot.
Yeah.
So does it have a pressure gauge to it?
Oh, okay. So it's not a silly question at all. So this does say Instant Pot.
Yeah.
And so see all of the, hold on a second. So see all the way down the sides here. These are all the different functions that this one has.
Oh.
So and let me tell you something. Don't ever take this away from me, because it is like, it is my life. Oh, it's amazing. So there's an Instant Pot. So there's a pressure cooker thing on here. There's actually a saute function. There is a slow cooker function. There is a warming function. So if I just like wanted to warm something up, there's even a yogurt on here. I have not done the yogurt one yet, but there is a yogurt one on here. There's a rice one on here. So instead of having a rice cooker, you know, I can do it in here. So this particular one is I think it's a 10.
Yeah, will you show us the top though?
Yep.
Does it have the pressure cooker?
Yeah,
it does.
It does. So now when I put it on, actually, hold on.
And I know you got to get it on just right.
Well, it's interesting though. So with the, it locks on
Yeah.
with it. But when I'm not using the pressure cooker function, the valve has nothing to do, like the valve doesn't do anything.
Okay.
It's only when when I'm using the pressure cooker function, that's when I use the release valve. So otherwise it sits here and it doesn't do anything. And also too, what I realized is with the pressure cooker, obviously, it locks right until the cooking is completely done and it's pressurized. The slow cooker, I can open and close in between. It doesn't lock, but I can open and close. You shouldn't, because then you're losing the heat, right? But this is my all-in-one. I don't know if you were on right when I got started, Brenda, but I was saying I used to have one of the older slow cookers. I think it was a Hamilton Beach, like with the ceramic on the inside of it.
Yep. Yep.
And I actually I had both of it at the same time as the Instant Pot. I didn't use the Instant Pot slow cooker one until that one fell off the shelf and the ceramic broke. So then I started using this one and I was like, oh, what was I doing? Like, I should have been doing this all along, because it's just it's one less thing that I need.
What is the brand of that, Kristy?
It is the actual Instant Pot brand.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. This was a gift from my dad a couple birthdays ago, and it has been one of the most amazing investments that he made for me. But yeah, at least with the slow cooker, even before I had the Instant Pot, the slow cooker, I would use all the time, and be able to prep, easy meals and make easy meals like that. I've gotten pretty picky with the meals that I do now in the slow cooker, because I've realized it's not just sometimes a dump and go, because then it gets soggy and like everything kind of mushes together. I know he really likes to eat that, but trying to kind of make it easier, using your 3 protein, starch, vegetable, trying to keep it like that, and making sure that they are like strong vegetables that you're using also makes a really big difference too.
Well, so many people are scared of that pressure part.
I know.
And I used to do pressure canning, so it doesn't make me as nervous, but obviously I want to be safe. But okay.
Yeah. And that's actually why during the January program, I'm actually going to spend one time on the Instant Pot itself, because it is, I don't know how, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that people have it, but it's still sitting in their in the box and they don't use it. They're scared of it, or they've heard something happen. So and I was like that too until I used it. And the pressure cooker, the first time I leaned way back and I did the did the thing, and but it's not, and it's just it really can do so many other
when
things.
when it finishes cooking, how much liquid will be in the bottom?
It's actually, I would say it's a good probably cup and a half.
Okay.
That is in the bottom. Could make gravy, if that is something that you wanted to do, or you can use it for so many things. If you're a person that saves that liquid, for sure. Yeah. Especially if it's cooking all day like that. I think there's more liquid in it when it cooks all day, like that 7 to 8 hours, rather than just the 4 or 5. It has longer time to mix with the juices.
And it doesn't taste fatty.
No. So truth, again, what I don't like skin on chicken. It grosses me out. So I'll pick it off, and then I will take the meat out, but it doesn't taste fatty, and the inside is just it's delicious. Really, really good. Really good. So
interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try. So the dry rub recipe is going to be emailed to you, so you have that. along with the two other meals that I had suggested as well, so that you have that. And again, it's relatively easy. It can almost be one of your fallback meals. If you have, I always like to have at least like 3 meals that I can make on a whim, right? And say, okay, what do I have in my fridge? This I can make. Buy the chicken when it's on sale, or at Costco, a large store, you can split them up and know that you have one. And then most of the time we always have potatoes and carrots at home too, right? And then at least so this is one of those meals as a mom, as a woman, as whatever. It's just one of those, like, I'm feeding my family well, right? I've got all of the bases. It's good, it's healthy. It's not takeout. I can do a lot of things with it. And for me, it's almost like a sigh of relief. Like, okay, I did it. I did it. And even though maybe my night before was crazy, but it was still a healthy meal.
Well, and if you're one of those that picks while you're preparing, you're not going to be picking on anything from that. It may be a raw carrot.
Right. And I mean, what are the chances? Yeah. Exactly. And that's another good way to look at it too. Yeah, I never thought about that before, but yeah, like picking while you're prepping, right? That can lead us down the road of who knows what. So yes, I like that thinking too, Brenda. Very good. Very good. So does anybody have any questions? Any thoughts? Let me let my dog out real quick. So sorry. So any questions, any thoughts? Nope.
Quick
Martha?
one.
Yeah.
Of course. Instapot, you could put frozen food, right?
You can.
Heard this rumor. I haven't gone that far yet.
Yes.
For those
can.
last minute ideas. Okay.
Yes, I have not done a whole, and you can actually do a rotisserie chicken in the Instant Pot as well. Like I was saying, you do like the saute function first, so you brown the skin first. But yes, in the Instant Pot itself, you can use frozen meat, and like the frozen chicken, so that you it cooks it. I've done like the chicken breasts before. I've done those frozen in the Instant Pot.
And that doesn't dry out. It's good in there.
Yeah, no, the Instant Pot and the slow cooker, definitely there are some differences with the chicken breast, as far as like cooking it and drying out and what that is. I think with the Instant Pot, right, it just it sucks everything in, and it's like that, it's like pressurized, so it like pulls it all in, so it is very juicy. The slow cooker with the chicken breast, I don't know, it just is, even though it's sitting in the sauce, it tends to be a little bit drier.
And it's pretty fast, the chicken breast frozen. Pretty fast.
Yeah, it's like 7 minutes. Yeah, it's amazing. That's what I'm saying. This is like my best friend. This is like, this is, it's still though, like if it says it's a 20-minute recipe, you still have to like give it time to warm up, and then, kind of come to pressure. So it really turns out to be kind of more like a half-hour meal, but still sometimes that is better than takeout, right? Better than other options. So yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, you can, my email is, I think it's on the Eventbrite if you want. The recipe will come out to you, and I don't have any more live classes planned right now before the new year, but I've got a couple in the back of my mind that we will be doing. And then of course I have the 6-week program. So Carol and Andrea, and Anne as well. So I actually have a 6-week program in January coming out, and basically what it is, it's going to be a teaching pretty much exactly like this, teaching different skills each week so that we're building on each other's, because my goal is that every woman be confident in the kitchen and you know what you're doing. And so that's what that program is going to cover. And it's going to be, like I said, like teaching video wise like this. It's also going to be a live Q&A once a week as well. But the video you get to watch and practice and kind of learn on your own time. So I'm more than happy to share that information with you. If you want, you can always reach out to me for that as well. But I'm excited about it because, as you can see, this is my passion. I love to show it. And these ladies, some of us have been here for a while and getting to know each other. So it's so fun too to be able to teach you guys something new. So with that, so have an amazing night. Thank you so much. And also too, celebrate yourself for being here and taking time for yourself tonight, because this was a chunk of your day. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful for you. And hopefully you learned something new that you can use this week as well. So
Yeah. And happy holidays.
yes, happy holidays, and try to deep breaths this week.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kristy.
All right.
Look at Kelly's puppy love.
I know. So
Oh, love it.